right? Like, just hi.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop.
Oh, we're just gonna keep going. Oh, we're
Oh,
live.
okay.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Welcome to the trans panel. Today I have with me Jupiter Velvet, Throna Shea, Christina Marie,
Yes.
Vex the Thing, and myself, Chalora. Before we get started, I just want to throw a little shout out to AMFAR, which is the Foundation for AIDS Research that we are currently raising money for on Tiltify. You can buy t-shirts from the Stream Queens Con past and the one present, as well as stickers, and 100% of the proceeds go to the organization. So we're going to get started right away. My name is Chalora. I'm a drag artist from Canada, currently living in the United States. I stream a huge variety of games, and I just came out as trans this year, previously identifying as non-binary, still currently identifying with non-binary still. I want to throw a quick content warning. We're going to talk about some deep shit today about trans issues, trans identity, and what we go through in our day-to-day lives. So I'm going to throw it over to Throna.
Oh.
Intros.
Hello, I'm Throna Shea. Nice to meet you. I had a 4-year trans journey and came out as trans last year in September. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Christina.
Hello, my name is Christina Marie. I have been transitioning since I was since I was 18. I'm sorry, I'm mad nervous.
It's all good.
Oh my goodness. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And y'all can find me streaming a variety of games here on Twitch at XO Christina Marie XO.
Vex.
Hi, my name is Vex the Thing. My pronouns are they, them. I'm non-binary. I started my trans journey, around 18, 19. I'm now 27. And yeah, I identify as non-binary, and you can find me on Instagram at Vex the Thing and Twitter under the same name.
Yeah, and we have that posted in the chat sometime soon. Jupiter.
Hi everybody, my name is Jupiter Velvet. I am a trans Latina Miami entertainer and streamer. I'm currently not streaming, but I will be back soon. And I'm also doing OnlyFriends if you want to support me on OnlyFriends. Pronouns are she, her.
So the first topic we're going to throw ourselves at, and these were all produced together as a team. We sort of decided what do we want to talk about? And the first larger topic, I suppose, is passing, which, off the bat, just some points is it's not everyone's goal. It's not for everyone. It shouldn't be mandatory. It's not oh, I'm going to be trans, I have to sign up to pass. And it's unreasonable. So we're going to talk about why it's unreasonable and why, as a societal expectation, it's not okay. I'm going to start off that topic by saying that when I first started transitioning, I was wearing women's clothing and stuff and going outside and doing my thing, and it was an instant sort of difference of oh, I passed, but that's not good. Because, I'm walking down the street and someone will catcall me or whatever, and it's oh, but then it's oh. So, instant danger as opposed to euphoria. Who wants to take on that topic first?
I'd love to.
Okay.
Yeah, so as I remember identifying as just before I transitioned as a trans woman, I identified as non-binary, and even when I was perceived as just a boy all the time, I remember the interactions that I would have. It was I felt I was ridiculed, but I never felt in danger. And then as my medical transition and my physical changes became more obvious, and I had boobs that showed through clothing and stuff, and it was my transsexuality was at the forefront of how I presented, and I couldn't hide from it, and that directly translated to facing more harassment and more I feel I'm more in danger more often and stuff. But it's just crazy to feel the closer I get to this gender euphoria, the more at risk I become, and that's so true for a lot of different trans people. And yeah, like passability does not always provide you like safety. Like that's like a myth. It can, but sometimes like it really can like make you a target or make people like think that you're lying about something or hiding something about yourself, which men will respond with violence. So like, yeah, that's why I just don't concern myself with like the mental mind game of trying to pass, because it's like like our bodies are going to be perceived however, and it's like we really have little control of that anyways. Like I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to be you know, a girl with a she-ness, and I'm going to live, and it's going to be great.
Tea. I do feel like, I don't know, a lot of the times it's like I don't want to go outside because like I don't want to like worry about if I pass that day or whatever. And like I mean, despite like the pandemic, I feel like has sort of been helpful in a way because you can just wear a mask and not worry about shaving and just be like, okay, I can go out, you know. But it's still like scary and like awful.
Yeah, and I would like to comment too, just on the idea of passing, like that's all based on like gender stereotypes that are so outdated, and like the definition of each gender is very different for each person. So just having like the term passing kind of already like puts people in a very confined box, because yeah, like as we've discussed, like just because you identify as a woman doesn't mean you look like the stereotypical idea of a woman that we have in this like fucked up world. That does not apply, and especially to trans people who push the boundaries of gender and expression. That's something that like is so toxic to us as a community, and just like people complimenting you like, oh, you're passing, like I couldn't even tell, like that's so toxic. And it's exactly the opposite of what we're trying to do when we're trying to make this a more inclusive and more open-minded space with people. And I just think like we should well, not we, but you know, our allies and other people should work towards destroying that vernacular in general.
No, absolutely. Because like I don't know, there's cis women out there with beards. Like why can't there be trans women with beards? Like it just why does it matter? It shouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Christina Therona.
I have maybe 2-3 experiences I could share on that one. Is so I've been living out as trans for approximately a year and a few months now, and obviously as time goes on, my hair grows out longer, my body changes more, and all that stuff. But it's interesting to see comments of like, usually obviously from cis straight men who are like, oh, so are you like full trans? And I see that question so much, and I'm just like, full trans just does not exist. That is not, and I mean, like, I do my best to be like, full trans is not a thing. There's no half trans, full trans, 3/4 trans, 66% trans. Like, it just doesn't, trans is trans, period. Right? And in terms of like passing, I actually had a very interesting moment. And I guess segueing off of what Jupiter was saying earlier is it's not always safe. And it was interesting because I went out to a bookstore in August, I think, and didn't do my makeup. My hair was up in a ponytail. I wore a long cardigan. I was just wearing a mask too, and was very much just like, I want to get in, get my book, and get out. This man comes up from behind me, and he's like, oh, hello, how are you today? And I'm just like, I've never had that happen to me before, ever. And so I kind of like, I was like, oh, and like I spoke, and it's when I spoke that I realized that maybe that was a mistake, because he was like, I said, oh, I'm doing all right, and he's like, and he turned around, and like as he was like passing by, and he was like, oh, you're a whole man dressed as a woman, ew, and like he was just saying this straight to my face, and I was like, can I just not be left alone, please?
Yeah.
Like, this is so weird, and like I was a little fearful of it because I was like, oh no, what's this guy gonna do? What's he gonna say? I don't know. And I will not lie, I was with my roommate at the time, and I went up to him and I was like, we need to go, and just started crying because I was like so hurt by this, because it was my very first experience out in public.
I would definitely like to comment on, or to continue on what like Therona said as well. Like for me, like my whole trans journey has been in that a journey. Like I remember when I first came out as trans, like I wasn't necessarily comfortable with presenting myself the way that I do now, because I was like, well, I'm very flat chested. Like, I don't have a very feminine body. You know, I don't have all that. So my way to kind of help cope myself was to just go to the extremes. So I would literally like wear like three freaking bras, pad, like literally give myself the body I need. Like I would do, in a sense, it was like for me, I was doing drag every day up until I finally got to a point where I was like, you know what, I don't need to do all this. Like if somebody wants to accept me for who they are, for who I am, they accept me. If they don't, oh well, I'm gonna keep moving, you know. Um, but it was definitely a whole journey, you know. You know, but I'm actually happy now to this day. Like, you know, I don't have to go out like with my like a freaking breastplate on, or for my bra like padded for the gods. Like I don't need to do all that
Mhm.
to feel comfortable anymore. Like I just feel completely comfortable with my skin now for the most part. Um I definitely know that, like, you know, going out in public for me still kind of to this day, like I kind of still have that mindset of like, oh, I need to put a little bit of makeup on, or I need to try to cover my face a little bit more, so that, you know, people don't see a 5 o'clock shadow. But there are some days where I'm just like, I don't really care. Like, if a guy or somebody wants to, you know, try to attack me, I'm just like, yeah, cool. Like, I literally heard everything in the book. Like, I'm gonna keep moving.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, like kind of like because gender's a spectrum, whatever, and like trying to push yourself to like a far side of the spectrum just to make sure that you don't get misgendered, like that is such a very like emotionally taxing thing for us to do. Like I remember when I first came out, I came out as a trans man, and I was like, all right, well, in order to pass, I have to do all these things, and I would wear, like the more like it wasn't even like good clothing. It was just like, like trying to get this like cis het looking kind of like wardrobe or whatever so that there would be no chance that anyone would misgender me. And like that pushed me to a point that I went so far into like the male side of the spectrum that I started getting dysphoria from things that used to bring me euphoria. And it pushed me to realize like, wait, I do not identify as a man. That's not who I am. Like I am gender fluid. I'm non-binary. Like that is something that like it took a lot of work and a lot of realization and a lot of triggering moments for me to realize like I was doing all of this for the public and I was doing none of that for me. And none of that made me happy. And the little reward I got was people not misgendering me. And it was a whole mess. And realizing, like, as I grow up and move states and start a new life somewhere else, like, that's not who I am and that's not who I was. But I was trying to do that so that the public could like digest my image.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you
Right.
can choke because this is just not who I am. So that was something that, yeah, I think is a very unique experience to us trans people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, and like using, I don't know, like gender neutral language or just inclusive language in general is super easy. Being trans is not. So, like, for cis people or just whoever, like, it's not hard to change your language to just people rather than like women or men or, you know, they, them is super easy. Like, I just don't understand why there's so much pushback. It's like not complicated at all. Like, I don't know. We're just people, just trying to be ourselves and do our thing.
Exactly.
And it's the same for anybody else. Like, I don't know, cis women shouldn't feel like they have to wear makeup to go outside. You know, like that's an argument that I think we've heard a lot before too. So why should we have to feel that same way?
Mhm.
Or, you know, it's the same with like, I know there's like a stigmatism for like, how do you look non-binary or whatever? And it's like, I'm just going to be me and do my thing. And like, I don't have to look androgynous. I don't have to give anyone that. I'm just going to do my thing for me and like what makes me feel good. And then, you know, deal with it. So I think, because we're actually like super early on time, and so Jupiter was right. So we're gonna open
I
up.
have one last thing I wanted to say about
Oh,
the
go
whole
ahead,
passing
go
thing,
ahead.
though. So with the whole passing thing, like it's interesting to see like everybody has like their personal preference and what they want to do to be able to be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so like I spent a very long time being like, well, what do I want to do? How do I want to do this? And what is okay with me? And you always get those questions like, what surgeries are you going to get? Are you taking hormones? And then like, obviously, like I was saying earlier, that trans isn't 100% or whatever. There's no percentage of trans. Trans is trans, right?
Mhm.
Some trans people choose to do hormones. Some don't. Some choose to get certain surgeries. Some get all of them. Some get none, and all that stuff. I do find it interesting, though. I have seen other trans people gatekeep, I guess, for the passing aspect of it, with what is passing and like what is trans as well, which is what bothers me the most. I've only ever had one experience, but I've seen like one personal experience of somebody trashing me for being a fake trans person. But I've seen it online on TikTok too. Like there's trans women on there who say, "Oh, like I am like the apex of trans because I have the top surgery, I have the hormones, I have the bottom surgery,
Yeah.
I've gotten facial feminization surgery." And honestly, when I see that, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't know why. Like I'm just trying to do my thing. Like I didn't need to see this video. You thinking that you're better than me and that you're more trans than I am.
Well, also, like, it's kind of elitist because some people can't afford things like that. Like, and for other people, like, some people have skin conditions or other conditions, medical things, like, that prevent them from getting certain surgeries or different procedures, even if they want them. But it's like, I don't know, like, if a trans girl has a bulge, like, who cares? Like, why does it matter? Genitals does not equal gender, and like I think that's something that we all need to think about a little harder.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if somebody today was like, "Hey, Therona, do you want bottom surgery? 100% free. We'll get it done for you tomorrow." I would say no, personally.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. I would say yes. Maybe I was hyper dysphoric about my body and genitalia before my transition, but for me, since I started doing hormones, it changed so much in my body chemistry and physical aspects of my body that I'm actually a lot more comfortable just the way I am.
Mhm.
I relate to that so much. That's like I love that you
Yeah.
said that, because like I used to be so dysphoric about my genitals and stuff, and I also used to think that I was, I mean, this is whatever. I used to think that I was like a bottom because I thought femininity meant that you had to like play into this like role, and then I'm not. I discovered that I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like, and that came with my transness. I was like, okay, this is like, it like coincided with me like accepting myself, starting these steps that I needed to like transition. It gave me so much more like confidence in my body, and I'm like, yeah, I enjoy my body now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the same thing like with me when I went on hormones and I had, bottom growth, that like before I went on hormones, how I regarded like the part about me that is really hard to change, like genitals are very hard to change surgically. I was like, I just don't like what's going on down there, but I did not know why. And like in coming into my trans identity and starting hormones and like experiencing the changes that happen with that, I realized it was just the way that it looked, not necessarily that I did not want a vagina or whatever, but the fact that it did not look how I identified. And now that has been fixed. And I really thoroughly enjoy that. And now I actually like something I haven't shared with like anybody, but I'd like to share on this panel is like before I would not really look at myself in the mirror, like, people taking like their nudes or their lewds, like that would not be something that I would do. And like when I was asked by one of my previous relationships, my boyfriend, like to take a picture like that, and I was like, yeah, like sure, I guess you want to see that, but I don't know why. And like I took it, I did not like it, I did not know why I did not like it. And then now, like after being on hormones, now I like it, and I actually like do admire myself in the mirror, and like I take some pictures, and like I live for myself now, and like I realize I don't need bottom surgery. Like I have found a way to like really love and accept myself with a little help of hormones.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and then also came to terms that I'm a bottom. I used to
Yeah.
that Jupiter did, but on the opposite. Like I was like when I lived in Miami, I like had like this kind of mentality that I'm like, yeah, like I can do that, yeah. And then now like growing up, I'm like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels good to be honest and open about it.
Yeah. Well, like, there's no
Mhm.
shame for like any of those things. Like, I don't know. I think it's healthy. It's beneficial. Jupiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like you had to say something.
No, I was reading comments and stuff.
Oh, okay. So we are going to open Q&A. So hopefully we have enough time at the end. But I just want to open it to make sure that if there are questions that they get through, sort of speeds up the process if we do have time at the end. The next topic that we sort of collaborated on was misogyny and how it's sort of, you know, for a lot of trans women or trans femme people, like it's something that they are usually should be aware of, and then, you know, starting transitioning or starting femme presentation, how it sort of is different than maybe what we perceived, or how experiencing it has changed our perspectives, and then how it ironically affects trans masc people and trans men on the flip side, because it does and it shouldn't, because like that doesn't make sense, at least in my opinion. Does anyone want to throw a dart at that first? Great.
I have one personal experience with misogyny. I think I have a few others that I probably can't remember, but the one that stood out to me the most was I was hanging out with this guy, I guess, and I would say is probably falls within the lines of like a chaser to a degree. He's like a photographer or something and does like boudoir photography anyway. So we were hanging out and getting along, playing video games or something and watching shows or whatever. And it was interesting. I guess it was like transphobia mixed with misogyny in this comment, but we were debating something of a political matter of something. I can't remember what it was. And I voiced my opinion on the subject. And he says, wow, you really are a woman. If you're gonna say that, you really are a woman. And I was like, what? Like, excuse me? And I actually didn't even realize like the gravity behind that comment until I like mentioned it to a friend. They're like, Lorna, you should take a step back and just think about what was just said, like the misogyny as well as like the transphobia behind that comment.
Yeah, that's trans misogyny, baby.
Yeah.
It's trans misogyny.
I feel like I had a similar altercation that the Rona had years and years and years ago, back when I thought I was dating a guy. Whole time he was just using me. He kind of put me in a mindset of like pretty much how I normally am, how I'm like upfront, or how I'm like very like hard exterior type of person. He didn't like that, and he was like, if you're supposed to be a woman, like you're supposed to be, you know, very submissive, you're supposed to be very, you know, just listen and just do what I say type of thing. And I'm like, no. like you, that's not how it works, because like if that's the case, then basically you're putting on that like all women in general, not just trans women, need to be like that. And it sucks that, you know, still to this day there are men out there who are like that, who want to, you know, assert that type of dominance, that type of ridiculousness. But I was like, yeah, I'm not, no, I don't put up with that stuff. And you know, a lot of guys don't like me because of that, but I'd rather stand up for myself. I'd rather say what I want to say, as long as it's not, you know, disrespectful or anything like that, than just be somebody who just, you know, let somebody walk all over me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and in my experience, like misogyny, of course, like transcends gender. And working like not at this workplace, thank God, but in my last workplace, there was like it was an unspoken truth amongst the cis men on the workforce that like of course I tried to befriend, I tried to, you know, just like be pals, whatever, just guys being dudes, and you can tell with how they treated you, how they looked at you, that they were still treating me as, you know, in their eyes, a woman. And that was something that, even though I explained to them so many times over that is not who I am, that is the farthest thing from what I am, and you need to realize that that would be something that was just an unspoken, like those glances when they look at you and how they treat you and what they talk about when they're around you. And even just like something that I've tried to push for, and I'm pushing for it at my current job, is like the labeling of sanitary products. We call them feminine products, feminine hygiene, and not all females have periods, and not all people that have periods are females, and that's just something that's such a basic thing that could be changed all around, because I could be having a great day, a wonderful day, and I go to the bathroom and I see that little sign that says feminine products do not go in the toilet. And that automatically it erases me. It erases me from the entire conversation immediately. And that's something that people don't realize, that we need to start like thinking about the processes that our bodies go through, whether we're born with whatever genitalia, like those processes should be universal to all genders. It should not be labeled as one gender's problem, if that makes sense. And that's just something I've struggled with, and I'm really trying to like kind of hammer it home that that's just a change in vernacular that we need to enact that would just make everyone feel a little bit safer and recognized.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like for the cis men at home, that starts with you. You know, you're in those conversations with your bros or whatever. That literally starts with you. You have to put that information into the conversation. Obviously, your bros are going to be like, "Blah, blah, blah," or whatever. But like, it's true. But like, educate your friends and make that part of the conversation, because like you shouldn't feel comfortable with that, especially if you know trans people. Even if you don't know trans people, like it's not a joke to us, and it shouldn't be a joke to you. Like those are real people. That affects real people. Like I don't know, it's just not funny to me. It shouldn't be funny to you.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're right. The only people that can really make the change are the cis men in our society.
Yep.
They're the only ones who could turn around like all of this for the better. And it's infuriating to see that they're not using their privilege to really make changes.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I don't feel like cis women are completely off the hook for it either. I think that proximity to like heteronormativity and stuff like just like lends itself to transphobia. Like not like unlearning or like changing the way like that they go about it. Like obviously like men hold like the power in society in that way, and like but I do think that there's a lot of women who kind of, especially me being Latina, like a lot of like machismo culture, like transphobia is upheld by like women, Latina women in the community and stuff, and it's really like gross to like see that and stuff, and they feel like we as in like trans femmes are like trying to like invade their spaces, and it goes into that like territory of like bathroom debates and things like that gets really like gross, and I don't think you could say that word on Twitch, but what they start assuming you're doing in restrooms and whatnot, like it's disgusting. And yeah, just that like trans misogyny is like abundant in like every, like people need to unlearn that shit like yesterday. Especially if you like are a chaser, or you like trans women, or you like Euphoria, you like Pose or whatever, or you just like respect human beings. Like don't like stand up for trans people, like be about it, like don't be like a bitch, like come on. That was misogynistic of me to say, but I'm saying a bitch when we're talking about misogyny, but here we are. I'm from Miami, I say bitch.
Pretty much just get with the program. I mean, it is like 2021, it's almost 2022. Like I don't know, I feel like progress can be really slow sometimes, but hopefully these messages reach people and make a difference, and that it ripples, right? So Throna.
Two other misogynistic things that I could think of that I've experienced is all of a sudden my driving skills have been put into question, because there's that trope of like women are bad drivers, and I've been called a bad driver for whatever reason. All of a sudden, just because I'm me now, like it was weird. I was like, oh, so like all of a sudden I'm just a bad driver. Like that doesn't happen overnight. Like
Throna was driving off the side of the road before they were transitioning. So
quick backstory. I was driving across Canada and I was messaging Chalora and a few other friends, and yes, I did drive off the road, but that's in the past. It was like 2 a.m. and really snowy.
It's hard to drive in Canada.
It is. And then the other time is I'm an avid League of Legends player, and I'll often link my channel into the chat, and people will be like, oh, like they actually they bunch me in as well with just cis women of like, oh, you're a trans girl, but you're going to be bad at the game, because they think that all women are bad at League of Legends as well. I've gotten that a few times.
Yeah, I mean, like, just general and, like, esports, like, women are never, even just cis women, are not even regarded as part of that community whatsoever. Like, I've spoken with a few esports managers and people like that, and they try to set up, like, meetings and things like that, and the event coordinators will be like, well, I want to talk to, like, your team members because I don't want to talk to you because you're a woman. Like, you're not going to get anything done for me. It's like, I'm the manager. Like, you gotta talk to me if you want my team to show up, you know? Like, I'm doing the damn thing. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's Cocoa Bananas that, like, people treat people like that.
Yeah.
My only misogynistic stories that I've recently experienced are just sort of, like, they're pretty minor, but it's just, like, things that you notice and you pick up. Like, I'm looking at my phone to, like, find out where I'm going because I just moved to a new city, and men will just come up behind me and be like, are you lost? Do you need me to help you? I'll help you find your way. Sir, I don't know who the hell you are. I've got a literal, like, GPS pocket thing here. I'm good to go. Like, people don't talk to you when you are male presenting. I feel like people don't bother you, like. But if you're female presenting, they assume that you're ignorant or that you need help all the time. And it's really strange. Like, people, like, I've been walking down a really wide street and men will get to the side of the road to get out of the way. And it's like, what are you doing? There is more than enough room for both of us on this street, sir. Like, what are you doing? This is so strange. So I just think it's so bizarre. And, yeah.
And, like, oh, sorry.
I did want to say, and this is just like my personal experience with it, and this is not to speak for all trans people, but there is a part of me sometimes that finds validation in like misogynistic like interactions that I have sometimes, especially early on when I was just like, oh my god, you think I'm a bimbo? Like, thank you. But like literally, like it was like actually like somewhat validating. I don't know, it's like so weird to say, and like,
well, no,
but
like
it's the truth. Not always.
That's
but
like the
there are
story I said at the
times.
beginning, like walking past a group of 20 guys and they're like, woo woo, you know, and then being like, oh no, like, no, I gotta get to the other side of the street, you know,
Yeah.
like you feel good and then you're like, that's danger, you know, like.
Yeah, and like that experience, I relate to with the complete opposite way. For example, like before I started, well, I mean, I was already transitioning. Sometimes I will present very femme. Nowadays it's very rare, but I will present very femme, and I'll put on a little wig, a little, skirt, go out to the club or whatever. And I remember when I used to do that a lot more often years and years ago in Miami, I would get harassed, catcalled, groped at the club, all of the very toxic, misogynistic bullshit, all of that. And then the next day, I would go out again and I would be presenting a lot more mask, and I would get zero attention, zero harassments, zero groping, like nothing would happen to me. And that, like, going through that, like kind of like transition and like experiencing both sides of this coin was really like eye-opening in terms of like, wow, like it is that much more dangerous to be femme in this world. It is that much more safe to be mask in this world. And that's just something that I get reminded of very, very much, especially here in New York, where it's like no one's afraid to approach you, no one's afraid to fuck with you. And I just noticed, like, I get left completely and utterly alone when I look like a quote unquote man. And it's just so upsetting. It's so upsetting.
No, absolutely. I was just like, that was really well said. Yeah. Um, is everyone good on that topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing I did, just actually happened recently, was at the Halloween drag show I did here in town. Full drag, one thing, obviously, because I feel like I look somewhat the same, but also different in and out of drag. Very like feminine, whatever. I chose to walk home. I don't live too far from the bar that I was performing at, and for I think it was 4 blocks, a man was following me, and it wasn't until he was legitimately, I heard a branch crunch behind me. Turn around, he's like not even 4 feet behind me, and then he just like as soon as I turn around and I'm acknowledging his presence, he stops and just stares at me, just staring at me, and I'm just like, can I help you? Like, I am so uncomfortable right now. Like, please walk ahead of me, leave me alone, and it was a kind of triggering and traumatic, I guess, in a sense. Like, nothing happened, thankfully. I was like, walk ahead of me. I'm going to wait until this guy walks ahead and away and out of sight so that I can walk home safely so that he doesn't know where I live. And, like, that was another thing that I've experienced, I guess, like, even I don't know if it would have made a difference whether or not I was trans or not because I was in drag, but it was a very interesting experience to I guess have being followed and just having your safety completely jeopardized because somebody thinks you're attractive and they feel that they have the right to encroach on that.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna move on to the third topic. Sorry, I'm like trying to like make sure we get through everything, because there's so much to talk about. So our third major topic was dating, and being single versus being in a relationship. What being single as a trans person is like, or being in a relationship and what that's like, because I feel like it can be very different than being in a cisgendered relationship. For me, I came out as trans while being married. Thankfully, I'm married to a bisexual person, so that really ended up working out. So I can't really complain, and everything's been honky dory. Just having really good open communication constantly about like what's going on, and that sort of thing has been really beneficial. So I don't have a huge amount of stuff to talk about on that, but I guess we'll start with the partnered people first, since I said my partnered bit. Jupiter, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, so I'm also partnered. I'm in a T for T relationship, which just means like trans for trans. I actually have it tattooed. My boyfriend and I have it tattooed, as well as another trans couple we're friends with. And yeah, just like being in a relationship. My boyfriend's a trans man. Being in a relationship with like another trans person is like, wow, it's like mind blowing. It's so incredible, like the way that you can feel so fully seen. And it's not to say that like a cis person can't fully see you, but it's just the little things, like the fact that, like, even just like how to be a better ally to a trans person. This is also relates to this, but like, let's say you want to hang out with a trans person, and like, you're getting ready, like. I will more than likely, aside from my ADHD, I will probably be late. And it's because like getting ready is always going to lead to like, or not always, but it tends to always lead to like a dysphoric spiral. And like you like can allot so much time to do something and then you will still freak out. And like I've had cis friends that would be like, oh my God, like can you hurry up, like this and that. But like my boyfriend who's trans like knows what it's like, knows how that feels, knows how dysphoria can like gender dysphoria can like physically manifest into like you see yourself like warped in something that you might have worn before, but then you do your makeup, whatever, you put it on again, and then you're like, I can't wear this, like I need to go make a mess, try on all my clothes again. And like the fact that being with somebody who gets it, that's one example of like the many things that like another trans person would understand that doesn't need to be like spoken. And also I'm really lucky because I started transitioning medically with my boyfriend, not with him, he was already transitioned medically, but he kind of got me to start and stuff, and like he like being around another trans person like that, even just like people, like if you're a trans person, like you have like no like trans community or trans friends, like even if it's just like a friendship, like having someone that you can like turn to that can like help guide you through something like that, or help just like be an example of someone who's trans, who's like existing. Like it's so validating to see. So yeah, getting to have that so closely with another trans person is really like we just validate each other all the time. It's so good.
I mean, that sounds really nice. I mean, my husband's not trans, so like it's not, he doesn't understand some of those things well, a lot of the time. So it's just like, I imagine it like bounces off each other really well. I imagine everyone else is single.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it.
The
Take
way
it
you just
away.
said that.
Well, I don't know. Nobody was like, me next, me next. So I was like, all right.
Yeah, I guess I can go first. So when I started transitioning, I intentionally did not put myself out there for approximately 4 to 5 months after I started medically transitioning. I didn't download any apps, no nothing, did not put myself out there. And then when I found myself in a happy place, being happy with me and my body and wanting to share my happiness and legitimately just like date, it's been a very interesting experience. Good moments, a lot of bad ones. One of the things I think that makes me the most fearful about dating as a trans woman is the unknown of like, it's happened to me twice now where I go on a date and everything's fine. We're talking, everything's great. And it becomes very suggestive and it's like they want to take it to the bedroom kind of thing. And as much as I'm like hesitant or whatever, I did in those 2 times allow it to go to the bedroom. And it was right in the middle of it where they speak up and they say, you know what, I hate to say this, but I'm just not into this. Like, this isn't for me. I'm straight, is what they say or have said. And it is just so defeating and like, it really hurts. Like, I would say out of those 2 experiences, one was an all right one. The other one was really weird. The first one was like, I'm straight. I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I thought I could. I wish I was bi or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is whatever. It's okay. I'm not mad. You know yourself. And if I'm not going to force you to do anything that you don't want to, like, I'm just going to go. And made it really weird where he was like, I guess he kind of felt bad, but like, I was like gathering my stuff, my jacket, my purse, and he was like tugging at me, being like, I'm so sorry, like, let me give you a hug. I'm like, just let me go. Like, this is done. This is over. This is weird. And he was like tugging at my arm. And I'm like trying to pull away. Like, I'm leaving. I'm going out the door. Like, we're going our separate ways. Like, this is what you wanted. So like, just let me do that. And so that makes me fearful of dating because like, there's always that like, well, what if I invest all this time and energy and it just flops, right? And even just like on the aspect of like having your partner understand you, I had an interesting moment because I did date somebody not successfully for 3 months this year. And that it was just like any other relationship. There was a lot of issues, but there was one specific moment that stood out to my trans identity. We were playing a game in my room on the TV with Xbox controllers. We were playing Divinity together. And I think I had thrown out like, oh, you should do this, or maybe you should do this, or whatever. And he said, sir, yes, sir. Okay. Which, sure, it's just like a saying or whatever you want to call it. That hit a nerve for me because in my day-to-day job, I operate on the phone. I get called sir based on my voice all the fucking time, and it drives me insane. So when my partner said, sir, yes, sir, I immediately put my controller down. I was like, what did you just say? And he was like, what? And I was like, you just said, why did you say that? And he was like, well, I didn't mean it like that. Like, why are you upset? I'm like, well, can you acknowledge the fact that I'm upset first? And like, can we talk about this? He's like, get over it. Just get over it. And I was like, I am trying to communicate to you that this is a problem for me. I did not enjoy it, and that made me feel a certain type of way. And we literally argued about it for like 15 to 20 minutes. Would not budge, did not want to understand my perspective and why that would affect me as a trans woman. Even if it was just like a small, whatever you want to call it, trope of like, sir, yes, sir. It was strange. It was a very strange experience. And like, I want to be safe and secure around my partner. And that moment did not do that for me.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
I was like, I can go
For,
too. I don't know.
it doesn't matter. For me personally, dating is not something that's huge to me. Being on the ace spectrum, I mean, I look more for like, an emotional connection with somebody versus like, oh yeah, I want to do this to this guy. I want him to do this, very that. But I have had throughout all the times because I don't do dating like just going out in the street type of thing. I noticed that like, and also just from other trans experiences that it's not the best thing to do, especially like because people don't know for the most part. They don't know your tea like that. So you're kind of just trying to take a chance of like, oh well, is this person going to be okay, or if they're not, like, and if they aren't, well, what am I going to do in this moment? How are they going to react? Like all that. So for me, dating online is something that I always relatively look to. However, you still have to be careful with that because it's very easy to catfish on there. It's very easy for people to just say, "Oh yeah, I'm into this, I'm into that, yeah, I'm into you," and then when you get to the moment, it's a completely different story. Um, there was one time where this one guy that it was just like I guess a casual kind of just chill and hook up type of thing, but he clearly wasn't into it, and I gave him the little nickname of Limp Dick because he couldn't keep it up. Um, but it was just very weird to me because like no matter how many times I tried to turn him on, no matter how many times I tried to do something he liked, it was just like nothing was happening. So I finally just got to a point where I was like, okay, honey, like clearly you're not into me as like you said you were. Like clearly this is just it's just not working. So from that point on, I was like, yeah, like you gotta go because like what's the sense of this? And he seemed to be okay or whatever, but it still made me feel like what the hell? Like I just wasted my time like getting myself all pretty. I just wasted my time like shaving, just doing this, that, and the third. And then like just for me to like experience that, I was like, what the fuck? Like I just felt like if you really weren't into trans women, like you should have just said like you're not into trans women, like because we could have just skipped all that. But um, the very few relationships that I have had have been with cis straight men, or with the exception of like one guy who was like pansexual. But those relationships relatively were they were good. I mean, they weren't the best. Like for the most part, I mean, at that time I didn't know, what asexual was or what aromantic was. I never knew what any of that was. So for me back then I just thought like I just have a very low sex drive and like I just barely like to have sex. But long and behold, not too long ago I figured out, I actually learned more about what the ace spectrum is, and I was like, okay, this is something that I really relate to. And now that I know that, now that I have that knowledge, I can have that open conversation with, you know, men who might be interested in me and, explain to them like, yeah, this is what it is and this is how it's gonna be. Like, if that's not for you, then like, I get that. Just let me know. And yeah, that's why I like doing online dating. It's so much easier to just tell people how it is up front rather than just getting in person and just kind of rolling the dice.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, just like kind of screening people before you even go out on a date, is something that is like recommended if you are
Mhm.
trans, just because like that gets rid of a lot of those awkward situations. But like y'all were saying, like those experiences dating as a single person who is trans, it kind of destroys your trust in the whole dating arena. I have a hard time trusting anyone who's interested in me because at the end of the day, in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, well, okay, so they know I'm trans, they know what what they're going to be working with, and will they ever view me as me because of that? Because dating like cis people, like I've dated cis people in the past, but I've also dated cis people before I started transitioning. And then as a trans person, I had one relationship, and it turned out that that relationship was like, it wasn't supposed to be a romantic relationship. Like now we're siblings. Like we just like kind of confused romantic feelings for platonic feelings, went into a relationship, figured out, whoa, that's not what we want from this. And now like I realized that that was just some very strong feelings I had towards someone who is also trans that was not romantic. It was just strong, strong familial platonic feelings. And something I'm looking forward to as a single person is eventually dating again, getting in a relationship again with someone, and like just seeing how my transition has led me up to this point and how that will affect me in the bedroom, romantically, in a relationship. Because at this point, like whoever dates me now is dating a person that hasn't been dated before. And they're working with parts that no one else has seen before. And that really like it excites me on one hand because I am so anxious to get out and date and like sleep with people and stuff and see how I feel now because I haven't had that opportunity. And I feel now like even though I do want a relationship, I kind of want practice first again. Like I want to be able to have like maybe a friends with bennies or something and having that experience to validate my transness, which it doesn't, I don't need it to validate it, but I know being myself, having that experience would validate a lot about myself that I just have not had the opportunity to get that feeling for in a very, very, very long time. And so, like, I have no idea. Like, I do not have any idea how I will be in the bedroom now. It's a whole different thing. And I'm excited, but like I also find it really hard to trust people. And I tried online dating; it doesn't really work out for me. I do identify as demisexual just because I really do need to like know someone and really know their energy, very very intimately before I start to develop any kind of romantic feelings. So I'm the type of person like you have to be my friend before I fall for you because there's like a level of trust that I need to accumulate before I can like let down my guard and be open, you know? So I'm excited, but I'm also very, very, very terrified because I'm scared of a situation like, sleeping with someone and then midway them saying, I'm not interested, this is not what I like. Like, that's something that absolutely terrifies me, and I would not wish that on anyone, and I do not want to experience that, and I'm very scared for what that will do to my mental health. But as I grow up, I'm trying to like kind of come to terms with that's a reality that we have to face, and it does not reflect on me; it reflects on them. And eventually, I will find someone who will accept me for who I am. So, yeah.
Completely.
Absolutely.
Amen.
We only have 4-ish minutes left. I wanted to at least get one question in because I think it was really important to Jupiter and to a lot of us here on the internet. So we're going to do that rapid fire sort of answer and then rapid fire outros. So go ahead, Jupiter.
Cool. So Tycostic Shane asked, what has being a trans streamer on Twitch been like? Does any experiences stand out to you? Is Twitch still not doing enough to protect the community? Well, so about like 2 months ago, maybe, I was like doxxed and swatted and stuff, and it was pretty much like the most, like, well, not the most, it was really fucking vile. Like, it was fucking awful. And I still haven't gotten back to streaming. When I tried to get back into streaming, I was just swatted again. And I'm having to pay an attorney like $1,000 fucking dollars to like help me with the situation. And Miami-Dade Police Department, as many police departments or as police generally, are incompetent fucking assholes. And they don't want to implement any sort of system to like prevent the swatting here in Miami. So we have to like go above them and do all this stuff. And it's just crazy that like I need to deal with this when the reality is that Twitch, by creating this trans tag, kind of put a target on all of our backs to be so easy to find. Like before on the LGBTQ tag, it was like harder to find specific people, and now all these like neo blank people can like find us. These little like rhymes with pencil, like they can find us and they can like make our lives living hell. And like yeah, now I have to do like only friends to like make some coin and like do my thing. It just really sucks that I can't stream, and definitely Twitch should be like standing up more and doing something about it. And like there should be like a safety fund that creators can tap into when they have this kind of situation. And they should also fight for like, you know, to help us with like some sort of like with just representation to like deal with the cops, because like how are you going to expect all these trans people, marginalized people, like it happens a lot to Black creators too, like any creator in any marginalized community this is happening to, and then they're expected to go deal with the cops. It's like on their own, like it's really fucking wild. So yeah, definitely being a trans creator online has never been easy, but just like Twitch lends itself sometimes to a very twisted audience of people who will like creep their way into like the like safe spaces because they're like miserable people. So it really sucks, but we got to stand up for each other and like keep like spreading the word and talking about these situations and these swattings, and like it's very real and it's really scary. So yeah.
Thank you, Jupiter. We only have like a minute left, so my name is Shalora. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. You can find me on twitch.tv/Shalora. Where can we find everybody else here?
You can find me on twitch.tv/JupiterVelvet or onlyfriends.com/xxJupiterHubXX.
Throna?
I'm pretty much Throna Shade everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, very universal. And yeah, I kind of stream whenever I want. I don't have a schedule, so you have to tune in and follow to get the notifications for it.
There it is. Vex?
So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Vex the Thing with a V. Also on Twitter, don't post there as much, but yeah, Vex the Thing. And I also have a Instagram for my creations, Vex Experiments. But you can follow that through my Instagram.
Perfect. Christina?
You can find me here on Twitch at twitch.tv/XO Christina Marie XO. And that's Christina with a K. You can find me also on Instagram and Twitter at Queen of Sweets KM. And yeah, let's play some games.
Thank you, everyone. Let's say goodbye to Stream Queens Con for now.
Yes.
Smile and wave. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.